Welcome to Olivia's Kitchen. I hope you enjoy Kate Moore with her cookery show today.
Right, my little one's in bed, so I'm just grabbing a quiet half hour in the evening to make something for the freezer, and it's a recipe lots of people have asked me for. It's my chocolate chip cookies. They're very different than normal cookies because they're quite cakey, which you will see when I make them. They've got self-raising flour and egg in them, but they are the most delicious chocolate chip biscuits ever, and especially for children. As I say, they're not that hard, crunchy biscuit. So what we need is 300 grams of self-raising flour, 150 grams of sugar, and that's half soft brown sugar, half caster sugar. If you don't want to use soft brown sugar because you don't normally have it, you can use 150 grams of caster sugar if you like, and equally you can use all brown sugar, but it's 150 grams, okay? You've got 2 eggs, which are in this glass that I'm going to break, a few drops of my trusted vanilla extract. If you don't have it in the cupboard, again, you don't really need it. I'll say that, of course you need it, but it improves the recipe. It's not going to be a disaster if you don't have it. And in here I've got 150 grams of butter that's been softened, and the final ingredient is chocolate, 200 grams. Now, if you wanted to do chocolate nut cookies, so long as this mixture here weighs 200 grams, it doesn't matter if it's mixed up of raisins, nuts, chocolate, any combination of, or if you've only got 150 grams of chocolate, that's fine as well. So roughly 150 to 200 grams of could be white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, a combination. You know, try and be flexible yourself. The recipe's still going to work, okay? So first of all, I'm not going to use my hand blender and make it easy for myself. I'm going to use a bowl and a wooden spoon because my daughter is upstairs asleep, so I don't want to wake her up. So into my 150 grams of butter goes my 150 grams of sugar, and using my wooden spoon I'm going to cream them together. This is actually, the measurements I've given you is for a double batch of cookies, so instead of saying double it up, if you only want to make a single batch, you'll have to halve this recipe, because I don't see the point of making a single batch when you can either freeze half the dough or indeed freeze the cookies. So I'm just basically creaming the butter. Now I've softened it in the microwave, I haven't melted it, I've softened it on defrost. Vanilla, I'm going to use a teaspoon. There we go. I think that bottle is about £5, so it's quite expensive, but you use it sparingly. It does give, definitely adds to the flavour. So in here I've creamed my butter and sugar. Let me have a look what that looks like. Now I'll say till, you have to excuse me sniffing, I've got a bit of a cold this evening, but till light and fluffy, which basically means beat it until you run out of energy. Okay, there we go, that's all creamed together. I'm going to break in my 2 eggs. 1, 2, give it a little bit of a jiggle just to break the yolks up, and then I'm going to add my flour. I'll add it half at a time, okay? These cookies are going to be cooked at 180 degrees for roughly 10 minutes, and I do them about the size of walnut-sized balls. But if you freeze the dough and just bake the cookies off as and when you want them when friends are going around, they're just going to think you're the most amazing domestic goddess that you've just knocked up a batch of cookies, when the reality is it was 5 minutes on an evening when you put the dough in the freezer when you had time, and you just pull them out. You've got the house smelling of fresh cookies. You see, this is my secret. I'm giving away my secrets. People think I'm this amazing, you know, I'm always cooking and baking, but the reality is I do things in double or triplicate and then freeze them. So I've added my 300 grams of self-raising flour. I recently had an inquiry from Canada, what is self-raising flour? It's basically all-purpose flour that's already got the raising agent in there, which is basically baking powder, and it's readily available in the UK. That's quite hard work because I'm used to using a mixer and I've got a cold, so I'm particularly warm. Okay, and then I'm going to add into this mixture in this case I'm using all dark chocolate, which I've cut up, and we'll just mix these in. Now it's at this stage, if you want to have frozen cookie dough, that you would just put it into a little freezer bag, maybe in batches. You don't have to roll them into walnut-sized pieces. You can literally see this wonderful dough here. This is cookie dough, this is it. This is all you need to do. Okay, so I could put that into a freezer bag, maybe split it into 4. And what's quite a good idea when you put it into the freezer bag is flatten it slightly so that it will defrost more quickly when it comes out of the freezer. If I want to bake this now, I would roll it into pieces yay big, which is the size of a walnut. You can do any size you like, but if you want to do it 180 degrees for roughly 10 minutes, that's the size to do, and I would just flatten it slightly on a lightly greased baking tray. These cookies I'm going to make tomorrow. So I've got it as far as the dough stage, and I'm going to stick it in the fridge overnight, and I'm going to put my feet up in front of the telly, so you'll have to come back to me when I bake them. They're going to be delicious though. Well, last night when my little girl was in bed, I made my chocolate chip cookie dough, and as I said, what I could do is either leave it in the refrigerator, freeze the dough, make the cookies immediately, make the cookies and then freeze them. It's basically very flexible, which suited me last night because I had a little bit of time, but in the end I couldn't be bothered to cook them. So what I did was I split the dough into 3 actually, and put it into these plastic bags, and when I've put the dough in the bag I've slightly flattened it, which means it takes up less room in the freezer, but also when it comes to defrosting it, it's going to defrost quicker because it's thinner. So these 2 bricks, as I call them, are going to go in the freezer. They've been in the fridge overnight. And this one I've just taken out about an hour ago, so it's gone soft again, and I'm going to make a batch of cookies for my little girl and her friend who came for a sleepover last night, so they'll be delighted with fresh cookies. And they're slightly, you know, this, I said they were better for children because they're a softer cookie. They're also lovely because with the brown sugar that's in them, they have a unique flavour, a little bit more sort of caramelised flavour, which is really, really nice. So size-wise, you just break a piece of the dough off. I think walnut size is ideal. So that's about that big. And then we don't have to make too much fuss. And the dough isn't too sticky actually. We just roll it into a ball shape. And I've lined my baking tray with a little bit of baking parchment just so I can save on washing up. And they don't spread too much. They don't go flat by any stretch of the imagination. They will probably double, but no more. So on a tray like this, I would space them about 1 inch apart, which is just over 2 centimetres, I think. Now the temperature I've set the oven for is 180 degrees, and these will be cooked for approximately 10 minutes until they're slightly cracked on top and golden in colour. And they smell absolutely fantastic. You'll smell when they're ready. So we'll come back to them when they're cooked. Well, I think the cookies have been in long enough, so we'll just have a quick look to see. Okay, I'm quite happy that they're done because you can see they're a lovely golden colour and I don't want them to be overcooked. So, yeah, I think I'll take those out. So that's it, that's the recipe for my chocolate chip cookies. You can see they're very, very unlike normal biscuits, aren't they? Because they're very, well, I suppose they're round and not particularly flat. But they're very, very delicious, very cakey in texture, and everybody loves them. So now you have the recipe and you can try them yourself.